pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Dawstown Township Board of Supervisors for May 3rd, 2022. And to begin this meeting is a presentation from PennDOT on the Easton Road Roundabout. Gentlemen?
Presented on this project a little over a year ago to the township. It was a virtual meeting. I don't know if you still have that available online, but it was a very successful and detailed presentation. We're here just to give you an update on the status of the project at the request of the township. And at this point, we're a year on. We are well advanced in the final design of the project. The design essentially is complete, and we're now in negotiation, the negotiation right-of-way process, negotiation with property owners adjacent to the project. We're also working with utilities that are involved. There's extensive utility relocation with this project, so we are coordinating and engaging the utilities that are involved. We also met with the township about maybe a month or two ago just to address some questions and have responded to a number of the township's questions and concerns related to the project. I'll pass it on now to Andrew Gold. He's the designer for the project from Urban Engineers.
Thanks, George. As George mentioned, not much has changed with regards to the design from our previous meeting over a year ago that we presented to the public, just some fine-tooth details. So what we're showing on the screen here is the current concept, and this does address some of the township's design preferences that we discussed with them earlier this year. As George had mentioned, we're just here to give an update, so we are in the heat of final design. I'll pull up the schedule based on the construction timeline. So this project's going to be advertised and let in early 2023 if everything stays on path. The contractor's going to get notice to proceed in spring of 2023. Based on the construction of these two intersections, we are going to be doing some partial detours. All in all, the physical construction is going to take about 8 months. So the shovels in the ground is going to happen in February of 2024. So you do see a little bit of a lag in there, but that's to avoid having any winter shutdowns of the construction project with a detour in place. That's typical PennDOT practice for heavy use areas. So from April 2023 to February 2024, that's when the contractor will be doing a lot of his upfront fabrication, shop drawings, et cetera, to get everything ready for winter 2024. Prior to the contractor doing the stage one in 2024 is also when the utilities are going to relocate, and that's what we're coordinating with the utility companies on now. As I said, it will take about 8 months of physical construction of the roadways. So we're looking at a fall 2024 open to the traveling public. The physical project completion will be a year after that. There has been a request from the township to put in some landscaping in the center islands. So as part of the project, there's a 1-year warranty on the landscaping elements. So you may see that physical completion will be of 2025, but the roundabouts will be open in 2024. I think that kind of covers everything. That we just wanted to give you guys a general update. I don't know if you wanted to open it to questions.
Does anyone have any questions on the board? Anyone out there? Any public questions, please? Yeah, you'll need a microphone and your address and telephone number. Your name and your address, please. Don't need your telephone number.
Hi, my name is Matthew Conway. I'm at 578 New Britain, corner of New Britain and 611 South. I appreciate the work you've done, but the lack of attention to detail for a homeowner is quite alarming. I've seen a lot of drawings, and I urge the township to take a closer look at my property, right? The temporary easement and the construction is going to come up to within 16 feet of my home, 26 feet of my door. They propose to take out 2 trees, which are each over 60 feet tall, and provide 45 feet of canopy, which are gone. The construction project is going to take 9 months at my front door. My well is only 7 feet outside of your easement, yet I haven't seen it on any of your drawings, and that really frightens me. Talk about moving utilities. If the utility pole gets moved straight back into the property, which is not mine, the property between mine and 611, I understand that. I work for a utility company in a different, in the neighboring utility. Those lines then are going to go straight to that pole. I don't want 34,000 volts of PECO's aging infrastructure over my property. And the only other choice would probably be to take it across the street, and I don't think the bike and hike path would like that. So that's where I'm talking about the attention to detail and the things I would just need to see as a homeowner. So I really have a concern that I'm hoping the supervisors can look into, and we can have more a discussion probably that doesn't need to involve the township, but maybe, because a lot of these are personal, right? I'm very intimate with that property. I've been here for 23 years. I've been a Bucks County resident my whole life. I have 23 years service, combined in Marine Corps and the Pennsylvania Army National Guard. So I get my back in the air, right? I took an oath to defend our way of life and our property, and then I feel like a state entity is just going to take my property. I kind of do get the hair on the back of my neck goes up, and I'm not saying that's what's happening, but you know, you can understand where I would get defensive.
I appreciate your concerns. Have you discussed any of this with our engineer and Mr.
No, I haven't.
Okay. I think they're going to be, and these folks, you'll be willing to sit down with this gentleman, yes?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, again, I don't know if you've been engaging with the right-of-way folks who have met with you or talked to you.
Only the people that want to send me a check, George.
So usually they ask if you're interested for a meeting. We welcome a meeting with you at
The meeting we had last year at the Zoom meeting, we were supposed to get together. And I've waited patiently for now over a year.
Okay. Well,
And
now
here we are.
Here we are. Now you can schedule something. Okay?
Right.
You
Thank
guys
you.
can get together after and schedule something, or meet out there and schedule something.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Are you commenting about this? Yes. Oh, please do. Thank you.
Sorry. Just walked in. Wasn't expecting this. Trish Murphy, resident Dawstown, over 10 years. It's just really not a good time for new construction at all. I just went to Stone Depot today for a half pallet of stone that less than a year ago cost $224, and today I paid over $300 for the same half pallet of stone. And I was like, wait a minute, I thought this was it was a project I was considering doing last year. And I said, oh, I thought it was around $200. He goes, yeah, that's the price now. They told you 9 months for construction. I mean, timelines are going for any construction job right now. Like, they're not staying on time. They're not staying on budget. What is the budget for this? Do you have trouble getting to your house? But do you now?
Let's not, we don't have conversations with
Okay, I'm
just
just
the board.
These are some questions that I think residents should be able to ask that I would appreciate if you could provide at the next meeting.
We're welcome to answer some of those questions right now.
Okay, go ahead. There you go.
Sure. So in terms of timeline for a contract, those don't usually shift once we're in construction. We give there are time deadlines we usually give contractors, and they're held to those within the contract itself, unless there are outside conditions, emergencies. Anything that happens, those contractors have to hit those deadlines. As far as cost of construction, everything has seen an increase in the past year or so as far as inflation, but that's taken into account already. So that's funded. This is a federally funded project. Thankfully, it's guaranteed in terms of funding for construction. So we don't see those being issues in terms of the completion of the contract, either the contracting itself or the completion. So I would say that we're have a good plan in terms of all those issues.
Ms. Excuse me, Ms. Murphy, Ms. Murphy, you have to go back to the podium. And can you give us your address, please?
And part of
Wait,
this whole
excuse me.
project is a safety project. So with regards to cost, we extrapolated the cost based off of predicted crashes, and this is going to basically reduce the number of crashes, reduce the severity of crashes, since these two intersections are much higher than the typical average for these types of roadways. So yes, the costs are increasing, but doing nothing is going to still just have a safety issue at these two intersections.
Ms. Murphy, what is your address, please, for the record? What, I'm sorry? Winsong. What number?
You don't need a number.
Let me just,
Just now? Okay, thank you. Winsong Drive. Thank you. You had a question? Can you come up to the podium? Thank you.
Hi, Donna Shannon, Doylestown, Steeplechase Drive, Doylestown Hunt. I live in that area. I go down that road all the time. I have had an accident there. So you're saying that a rounder is going to stop traffic? I mean, stop traffic accidents? I wasn't here for that meeting. I've just only recently got involved because one of my neighbors had an issue with them not mowing the retention basins all of a sudden. That's a money issue or an environmental issue. She happens to live on one. And then another neighbor last time came and spoke about that same thing. So how will this rounder work? I go to Jersey with these rounders. They don't work well. So could you explain how that works?
Yeah,
Is
Andrew,
there-
if you pull back up the first slide, Andrew will just run briefly through what makes a roundabout. They call them modern roundabouts because they're not Jersey circles, they're modern roundabouts.
You need to
What
talk
makes-
to the microphone. He's yelling at me back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, George.
Andrew's going to just run through what makes a modern roundabout, which is what we call these. We don't call them circles because they are refined and they improve traffic and safety and mobility through these intersections.
Yeah, and so the main idea of a roundabout, it reduces conflict points. So at typical intersections, there's, I think, in excess of 16 conflict points of merging traffic, crossing traffic, et cetera. So a roundabout reduces that down to, I want to say, 4 to 6.
What are the mechanics? Could you talk about how you're saying?
You cannot talk from your seat.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's fine. So for...
I'm not understanding, because, again, what are the 16 points and, because
Right.
as it stood before, I understand that the people that had the stop sign, the woman that I hit because she blew a stop sign said, "Oh, I didn't see the stop sign." And I'm like, "It's a big red stop sign. How did you not see it?" I don't have a stop sign. So how does that mitigate traffic flow to have,
Right, so for that, I don't have the figure with me. I'd suggest maybe going to the township's website and looking up the public meeting from a year ago. That
so
presentation
do you know
had
what
it.
that date is? Because,
We'll get it for you.
It's actually on our website. If you search the Southeastern Road roundabouts, there's all the information they presented. They were here a year ago. In addition, when they started this project, we were actually over in the trailers. I want to say that was 2018.
2019. I also think,
2019, and that's when, this is a PennDOT project. These are PennDOT roadways, and so it's their road to make the improvement upon.
No, that's fine.
Sure.
And so do you know what roads you're going to be diverting onto? Because, literally, I come out of Steeplechase Drive and now, and I go down 611 all the time.
Right, so
So
Yeah, so just to backtrack to the safety and conflict
Yeah,
points.
I'm
So
sorry.
the other part of the roundabout too is it forces drivers to slow down for the intersection. So right now, cars are blowing through these intersections 40, 50 miles an hour. They're not going to be able to do that. The way it's designed, the fastest path a vehicle can go safely is 25 miles an hour. PennDOT has also released, I believe, a statement across the entire state, and they've done analyses on roundabouts that have been constructed, and it has reduced crashes by, George, off the top of your head, 70-ish%.
The number there.
And it's
So is
completely
it all
reduced
yielding
fatalities.
or
Yes.
And so I know people that don't know how to use a four-way stop sign properly. So I guess it's, again, a Jersey thing that, you know.
Well,
I
the
mean-
Jersey thing, I don't think the New Jersey instances you're thinking about are modern roundabouts. They're traffic
No,
circles.
you say that, you say
Right.
that. I understand that, so.
The other resource I'd suggest is just going to PennDOT's roundabout website. There's a lot of useful links and information.
And does it have
snippets.
like, you know,
They have
little
videos and stuff,
videos,
yep,
yeah,
mhm.
of little cars,
Yep,
you know,
exactly.
driving and how, okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I
thank you.
There'll be
think-
signs,
Can
okay.
I interject
Sure,
just for a
Kate.
sec? I think it would be helpful. Andrew or George, did you have a safety study prepared? You had to prepare that would be
Yeah.
helpful, which has a lot of data, which has your analysis in it regarding what your projected reductions and what the crashes are and things like
Yeah,
that,
I don't
correct?
know if that can be public information.
There's a confidential, there's usually
Yeah.
confidential.
Okay,
safety
well,
stuff.
there's also your videos, which we can put a link up for to the website. And so we'll try to make it more of a, public data available regarding how to use a modern roundabout, this information and whatever we're allowed to. Maybe we'll work with you, George or Andrew, to publish what we have for our website so that everybody can take a look and understand how this project
And I
will
can
work
send
and function.
Stephanie the PennDOT roundabout link if you want to include it in the
That'd be
minutes.
helpful.
Yeah, we'll do that, and then the videos are really good, and I've personally driven them. I've actually driven them in Ireland backwards, so on the opposite side of the road, and they work quite well, and they're all over the place. So just from personal experience, once you learn how to use them, they work very well. I think it'll be a good improvement here.
And then
This is-
the point on the diverting the traffic, the detours, so the north-south, so Easton Road is going to remain open throughout construction. So that the main thoroughfare is going to stay open throughout construction. The pieces that we will be partially detouring will be New Britain Road for some portions of construction, and then Sowerman Road for some portions of construction. Main Street's going to stay open. Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions, sir?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for your time and helping the community. My question is also about safety. I live on New Britain Road, actually next door to Matt and Tara, and between our homes is a substation, a Pico substation, and our street, there's a hill comes up from Lower State Road, and when you go up that hill, I'm the first house once you get over that hump. Now, the sign says 35 miles per hour. Not everybody goes 35 miles per hour, and I have to stick out to make sure that nobody is coming over that hill. I am sure that caused, I see it. I see crashes in front of Matin Towers all the time. There was one today on Edison Furlong and 611. So, I would really love for, a slower, rate of movement, because 35 miles an hour is just horrible. There's kids getting off of buses, and it's a two-way street, and you got the construction at Tabor, and, that's just, my concern for now.
Thank you.
Get his name now.
Sir, can we have your name and your address or your street that you live on?
Sure. My name is Mark, M-A-R-C. My parents couldn't afford a K. Willig, W-I-L-L-I-G, and it's 566 New Britain Road.
Thank you, Mr. Wellick. Anything else for the roundabout questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Gould and Mr. Gamas. Thank you very much. All right, is there any public comment on any agenda items? All right, moving on. To announcements, the next meeting of this board is Tuesday, June 21st at 7 p.m. Our next budget work session is Tuesday, June 21st at 5 p.m. Township offices will be closed Tuesday, May 17th for primary election day, and Monday, May 30th for Memorial Day. Leaf and yard waste recycling is the third Saturday of each month from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., and the first and fourth Tuesday of the month from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. The drop-off site is located at the New Britain Road entrance to Central Park. Please visit our website for more information. Dawstown Township Parks and Recreation upcoming events. May 12th, the Home Run Derby. May 14th, Touch a Truck. May 20th, Red Cross Blood Drive. August 22nd, the annual golf outing. September 10th, the Fido Float at Fanny Chapman. September 24th, Fall Food Truck Fest. And for any and all information for parks and recreation events, go to dawstownrec.org. The 2022 Thompson Performing Arts Series kicks off the season at the CNN Bank Amphitheater in Central Park with the Eric Mintel Jazz Quartet. You got potholes, call the state road. For state road, call 1-800-FIX-ROAD. And for township roads, call the township building at 215-348-9915. And then please join us for the National Night Out, sponsored by the Dawstown Township Police Department on Tuesday, August 2nd at Central Park from 4 to 8 p.m. Next item on the agenda is...
Hand raised in the audience.
Did you bypass, I didn't hear, public comments about just general discussion?
Yeah, public comment about general discussion is at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Minutes approval for the budget work session on April 19th, 2022. Everyone had a chance to review. Mrs. Santa Cecilia, we received your comments regarding the budget work session and the minute meeting notes that you want to have corrected. Let me just tell you that the point of meeting minutes are not to create a transcript, but to take discussion on basic action items and any votes by the board or, consensus items. It's not a verbatim, minutes are not verbatim testimony or transcripts.
I understand, but some of the things that were paraphrased that I said I don't agree with. And I also believe that if the board takes a vote, which they did when I talked about, there was, it was omitted from the actual minutes.
If that's the case, then the minutes will stand corrected.
If a motion is made and a vote's taken, it should reflect in the minutes.
I'm not sure that is correct.
I don't know either.
I don't, does anybody?
Generically.
I'm not sure. We'll have to
Check the.
check.
There was a vote taken.
Consensus.
We were doing consensus.
Yeah, there weren't motions, there were just.
I'm sorry, I
we were
couldn't hear you.
We weren't voting, we were just seeing what the pleasure of the board was. We were moving by consensus. I don't know that there were actual votes.
This is the budget meeting?
Yes.
Well, I had asked about tabling the Park and Rec Center based on the inflation and costs.
And you moved, I think you did move the table, and I don't think there was a second, so we moved on.
And you said, let's take a vote if you want to continue. As I wrote to everyone on the board, and you asked the board, should we continue on to pursue the Park and Rec Center? And everybody voted on it. So my understanding is that was considered a vote.
Well, it's whatever the video says should be in the minutes.
Yeah, well,
It was not videotaped. That
It was
the problem.
recorded? Was it recorded?
No.
It was not recorded.
I don't recall.
There was no.
We never took a vote. You asked for a consensus on how we should move forward and where people were in relative to that. And four of us said, yes, continue on. But there was no official vote. There was no motion or second to that.
That is my recollection.
Okay, well, can I make the request then in the future that our budget meetings be recorded?
Oh, well,
I mean, we have the web technology to do that. Would that be the right thing to do, Mr. Solicitor?
Well, that's up to your administration and your.
I think we'll run into problems because like right now, Ed and Caitlin are back there running the operations. And Ed, as you know, participates as the budget analyst in the budget work sessions. And so it really takes two people to man the booth back there. And so I think we'll run into difficulties because we don't have anybody at this point in time who's up to speed and being able to run it, and it would just leave one person back there to do that.
I think it's important that there's transparency and that it's recorded, so,
Well, you know, everyone and anyone is invited to these meetings.
I know, but you even asked at the beginning of the meeting, is this going to be recorded? And they did not, and now we have an issue because I raised a question. What I actually said was my concern about whether, we should consider tabling the Park and Rec Center based on the hyperinflation, based on building costs, based on maybe the feasibility study was done prior to or during COVID, and does it still make sense to do that when we were talking about just the proposals and we were looking at the numbers? And I want to do what's right for the township, and fiscal stewardship is really important to me.
Nancy, everybody wants to do what's right for the township.
I know
That's why
that.
we're here.
I'm not saying that you don't, but I just want to finish my sentence. But my concern is that when I raised that question, I asked, should we pause this or table it? That's when you did call it a consensus, call it a vote. There was that conversation, as Ryan confirmed.
You did move, I do recall a motion to table. There wasn't a second, so the matter wasn't tabled.
The motion was made, should be reflected, and that there was no second also should be reflected.
I think it,
Okay, it's not there, I'm under the accelerated road.
so
program.
we'll make sure that that's noted in the minutes. That there
Thank
was
you,
a
because the
motion to
minutes
table.
weren't up there even for the public
They're out
to
there.
see.
They're
Are they up there now? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I made copies right away.
Thank you.
All right.
They've been sitting there.
All right, are there any other corrections or concerns about the?
Yeah, I have
The budget meeting?
for the budget meeting, yes.
Thank you.
On page 3, paragraph 2, there is a line where it says, I asked about the tar and chip and whether it would be beneficial to pave now or hold off. Just to be clear, I wasn't saying we should hold off. I was more just curious about the tar and chip as a reference point.
I'm sorry, Dan, can you, give me a page and paragraph?
Page 3, paragraph 2. At least it's labeled page 3 in my packet.
Okay,
And then
got it.
And then also on page 3, paragraph 7, it says, after discussion, Mr. Wood indicated that he would like to go forward and get more information about borrowing and interest rates. That's true, but I also want to specify that wasn't just me. The entire board had a consensus on that.
That's correct.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Anything else? I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the minutes, budget work session minutes. I'm sorry.
I'll make the motion with the change of the vote in question that was tabled and Dan's changes.
There's a motion, there's your second.
Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the regular meeting minutes for April 19th, 2022. Everyone had a chance to review them. Is there a correction or change?
I have one correction. The vote for Marianne Davies, it reflects 4-1. I was actually the one who made the motion, and seconded by Nancy, so it should reflect a vote of 2-3.
Thank you. Any other changes, corrections? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes for April 19th? Thank you. There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, correspondences. Wait, that's wrong, sorry. Got the wrong agenda in front of me. Sorry, correspondence, request to waive permit fees for the Dawstown Mennonite Church special event application. Everyone had a chance to review this request? Is there a motion to approve it or dismiss?
Can I discuss that real quick?
Absolutely.
That application came in the beginning of April. Came into the code enforcement officer. It was reviewed by Sinclair Salisbury. He passed it off to me. I looked at it. There's no police services required because of the number of people that are anticipated. After learning about the request for waiver, I went back and looked at it again. the minimum number of people that are going to be there does not meet the standards for a special event permit, so they don't even really they're required to have one, so I don't believe that a waiver is even necessary. I don't think we should be charging them based upon the ordinance the way it's written today.
All right, so we have to, we take no action and just let these folks know they're good to go. Correct?
That would be my opinion, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, next item is the community room use fee for the Central Bucks Chamber of Commerce. Thoughts about this from Ms. Solar?
Yeah, it would be a $100, or the $150 to waive that fee to utilize this meeting room for the hours just in the morning for their program.
Is that going to interfere with anything township-wise?
No, it will not.
And that's what we have the meeting room for, right? Let people use it?
All right.
Are you?
I will make
move
the motion
to move.
to waive the fee.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Solicitor, any reports?
I think we won't discuss later on, Madam Chairperson.
Township engineer?
Nothing to report at this time.
Chief?
Nothing to report.
Director of operations?
No report?
What?
No.
Township manager?
Yes, you have my memo about the accelerated road program. We had a very robust discussion with our Ways and Means Committee the other night. Fortunately, we ended December 31st, 2021. It looks like a little over $600,000 to the good. There was a discussion about how those additional funds could be utilized, and the recommendation from staff and the Ways and Means Committee is to put it towards the accelerated road program. But again, that's direction from the Board of Supervisors, is obviously you could put it towards something else should you choose.
Thoughts?
I would like to see what our budget staff has to say, what it gets us by putting it into the roads program, like see an actual plan and data before I make a commitment on that.
You want to wait till the next budget work session?
That's my inclination. I think that's the way I want to go, but I would like to see like how that impacts our road program, what that gets us.
In terms of like a mile or?
Additional miles in this year.
Additional mile.
Where it puts us timeline-wise for our goals.
Okay.
It's also my understanding that Ways and Means has been working on other options for funding that they would like us to look into. So I know we have a deadline with this.
We do.
We do. But I believe that that's something that we should take a little bit of time to look at. So hopefully by the next budget meeting, we'll be able to have a little bit more information.
Okay.
What is the deadline for this to make a decision?
I think we're looking for direction at the budget, in June 20,
okay.
the June meeting.
Okay.
We would, depending what comes out of that, we're working with them, as it was suggested, to see what we can do using fund balance as well as possibly another loan. So to be able to do more roads. We'll work with Sean, we'll work with Dave to see what that additional $600,000 would equate to and what we would have. So we'll definitely have more information for the budget work session.
Can I sat in on the Ways and Means meeting as well, and I thought my understanding was Mr. Tomko had said if we agreed to spending the $600,000 in the accelerated roads, he'd be able to start it up within 2 weeks. Is that correct? Is that what you had said? I'm just trying to, when you talked about it, you said don't worry about the logistics, that if you get the approval, you'd be able to start.
I think it was, well, no.
No,
I don't think it was
sorry,
2 weeks.
just-
Probably the
Not 2 weeks,
realistic,
but-
I'm
Go
sorry, I
ahead.
don't want to talk over you. I think the realistic number is about 2 months. It's about 60 days. By the time we get the plans together and we get it out to bid, I think it's 60 to 90 days is really where we're at as far as getting something approved, ready to go with a, contract to get in front of the board to approve. Maybe it's more along towards the 60.
I thought you said we already had bids out that you'd be able to spend that money.
That question was about how much of a change order legally, I guess, or the recommendation of Mr. Garten would be that we could issue a change order.
You said
Typically,
it's a percent, right?
10%-ish.
Usually the guideline we go by.
Oh, that's right.
The rule of thumb that we've always gone by is 10%. I don't know what Mr. Garten's
My
recommendation.
recommendation would stay the same.
Okay, so again, at a bid right now of $914,000, at 10%, it's only $91,000. $91,000 gets us extra work, but it doesn't necessarily, and then we'd have to figure out where we would go to do that. So if that is something that we're looking into, we could do that but we have to do the paperwork, get a change order. The concern being is that by the time we get to be able to get in front of the board again, which will be June 21st, we'll probably be done our paving program already. We're ready to give notice to proceed once the contracts are signed tonight after the board meeting, so the paving program will be done.
So we won't be able to add to this year. If we wait till June, I'm sorry, just walk me through this. If we wait till June, we probably won't be able to add it to this year?
Not to the current contract that was approved by the board last month.
You can but you can do another program.
But we could still put out another.
Yes, we could put out another bid, yes.
Right, yeah, we would have to, Nancy, we would have to rebid it because we're looking at well over another $1 million in road work. So, taking that 10%, we could do maybe one road for $90,000, but to do more roads, we would have, and over $1 million, we would have to do a whole new bid package.
Because you'd be adding to the 600 without whatever else. Okay.
Well, I would take the 6, but.
As I indicated,
yeah.
whatever the board's direction is on how much money we have, then we will craft a program and a bid document in roads that will fit that budget. Okay, that was that was kind of the discussion, like, well, instead of let's talk about what roads we can do, let's talk about how much money we have to spend on a second contract, maybe even a third. But as the longer we wait, the more time we get pushed into the end of the paving season, which is typically by PennDOT standards is October. We can push it by approval to November. It's all weather driven. So, we don't have till December 31st.
Right.
So let's keep that in mind. So again, whatever direction we receive from the board regarding the paving program, we'll then work with Sean and Pannoni to prepare bid documents, and we can start, if the board gave us direction, hypothetically gave us direction tonight, we would start working tomorrow. We could probably have those within a couple weeks because we have boilerplate specs already done. Just a matter of picking the numbers and doing the math. We could get documents prepared shortly, but the bidding process is longer. So probably take us a couple weeks to prepare the documents and then the bidding process and to get to, maybe that's what I was referring to.
That's what I'm trying to.
2 weeks to prepare the documents.
Got it.
And then, but the bidding process is going to take us 30 to 60 days to get back to the board with an award.
Okay, and then we still take the chance then as the interest rates go up. So if we borrow, the interest rates are going up. Okay. Anything else? I'd like to see it happen to go towards the roads, but it sounds like we have to take a vote, or what happens?
I think the consensus was to refer it back, discuss it again at the budget meeting, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Anything else? Okay, anything else, Steph, on that?
No, thank you very much.
Okay, sure. Supervisors, yes, you got anything? I'm going to go last, if that's okay. Dan, you have anything?
Yeah, just a quick note. This past week, several of us attended PSATS, which is the convention that our supervisors from across Pennsylvania joined to have conferences and discuss various things. We learned a lot of stuff. Just one piece I wanted to share for the township. One of the sessions I attended was on integrating electric vehicles into our township and into our municipal fleet. And one of the encouraging things about that is all the recommendations that came from the DEP, that kind of thing, were things we had already done here with our EV chargers we have out in Central Park. To the point where, as we were walking around the convention floor, the vendor who installed our charging stations had Dawstown Township as one of their listed examples of happy customers. So just wanted to point out that we definitely have things we can continue to work on, so things that are useful to learn, but in some ways we are ahead of the rest of the state, which is always good to hear.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Jen?
I don't have much to report, but I do have to say I had the same experience as Supervisor Wood. When I was at PSATS, I went to several learning sessions, and for the most part, it just reinforced what a great job our staff, primarily our staff, does. and our volunteers do in this township, and it made me very proud to know that.
Yeah. Brian, you have anything?
Nothing from me tonight.
I loved my PSATS experience. I had several hours in the solicitors conference, and I was sitting next to this gentleman. And it's a wonderful thing about PSATS. You get to meet people from all over the state. And he and I traded cough drops. And every once in a while, we had a discussion about what the presenters were saying. And then eventually I said, so what's your name? And he writes down Tim. And then after the session, the presenters come up to him, and they're fawning all over this guy and exclaiming, oh, it's so great to see you. And it turns out he's like this retired judge. And he was like so unassuming and such a polite gentleman. And it was so nice to meet someone like that in that situation and spend a few hours with someone of that quality. And that's what you get at PSATS. People from all over, all walks of life, just regular folks like us. So anyway, great experience. All right.
You go back to Nancy.
Nancy?
Yes, thanks. Again, I am going to bring up the idea of the transparency and the record of recording our committee meetings. I saw because of COVID, the tab minutes, the web streaming has become really simple or easier for the township, so I'm going to continue to ask for that. Thank you for adjusting the budget meeting to show that admitted vote or conversation about the Park and Rec Committee building. I am still concerned about, raising people's taxes with hyperinflation, the building costs. Plywood's $18, now it's $80. The logistics and supply chain that was mentioned is a really big concern. And really just looking at our feasibility study that was done during COVID, I mean, we didn't have the expanded YMCA or even the terrain. So I just think we should be really smart about how we spend the money, especially when we talk about the accelerated road program, which we all know. And it was sort of reinforced on April 21st when our consultant regarding the project even said, that the prices for the projects that he's priced out so far are astronomical. So I just asked the board to keep that in mind. In terms of the road program, I'm excited to try and accelerate that. I think we all hear the complaints. I think, it's a continued conversation. And I'm going to continue to ask about the Lipples family. I think they came here in March. So when I asked if we can do a road, I would probably, I am very concerned about that family and for them being able to have a quality of life. So I'll bring it up every meeting until we can have some sense of urgency in addressing that. And finally, the Veterans Advisory Committee, I'm happy to hear that you have Ryan leading that, and now there's 3 people on there. I am disappointed that Marianne Davies was not received an opportunity and votes from the other township members. She has 2 active service members in her family, a daughter and a son in Navy and Marine. So, and I believe we still have 2 openings in that committee. And I just invite everyone from the public to join the budget meeting on June 21st so they know how their taxes are being spent. Thank you.
Okay, new business on land development at Dawstown Hospital, Children's Village.
If I may, the board recalls that the Children's Village daycare facility was destroyed by a tornado. Doylestown Hospital came in with an application for land development approval to rebuild that facility. The board approved that, and now they're prepared to proceed with construction. Before you tonight is the development financial security agreements. Consistent with that approval, recommend the board approve the development agreements for Doylestown Hospital, Children's Village.
Any concerns, considerations, questions? Is there a motion to approve the development agreement?
I would love to make the motion to approve the
Thank
development
you.
agreement.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Delay.
Sorry.
That's okay. What else? Chapman Road Bridge. Property Appraisal Review Service. There's a letter from Mr. Brigidi, or Brigidi Inc. to Dave Tomko, Appraisal Review Service. What are your thoughts, folks? We need an appraiser, so.
Can I briefly, this is, so through the PennDOT process, and as you know, we're trying to fund this through PennDOT, with PennDOT funds. we have to follow the PennDOT process. That's why we've gone back, and Baker has been approved to do additional scope, Pannoni as well as coordinating the project for us. Part of the appraisal process that was done by Indian Valley appraisers, according to the PennDOT process, there needs to be what they call peer review. Pannoni on our behalf had reached out to a number of appraisers and consultants, and basically we received, and I reached out to Bart F. Brigidi Incorporated and received a proposal from them to do this quote-unquote peer review for us. It's required, so that's what the scope is for to get this done, total of $3,800.
Okay. Thanks for that explanation. Any questions? Is there a motion to approve the award to Bart Brigidi, Inc.?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. New Britain Road Trail, field
No,
survey.
skipped an item.
And Chapman Road Bridge.
Right-of-way
Chapman Road.
Right-of-way acquisition.
Another Chapman Road item.
Sorry. Go on. Chapman Road Bridge, are you speaking to this, or what?
Yes.
Yeah, I can. And again, this is the right-of-way acquisition services. So as part of again, this PennDOT project and the PennDOT process, we were advised by PennDOT when we had met with them, as George had alluded to. And so basically, we were told that we shouldn't be negotiating this on our own behalf, that we should acquire somebody to assist us to negotiate and acquire the right-of-way. So again, Pannoni on our behalf had reached out to a number of companies. They received two proposals, one from Al Rose and LLC and one from Stantec. And the low bid, the low price here is from Al Rose LLC for $7,729.99. So that's what this required. Now, this will be a supplement to Michael Baker International's scope of work. So that's why it's kind of addressed to Chris Stanford, and it indicates that as part of their process. So that's just part of this whole PennDOT Bridge project, the process, the way it goes through. So this is kind of a supplement to Baker's work, but we wanted the board to review it, to see it and approve that.
Okay.
So,
Any questions? Something we need to do.
yes.
All right, is there a motion to approve this supplemental right-of-way service, acquisition service contract?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Dave. And do you want to address the last one, New Britain Trail?
Yeah, as you recall, and I don't know, it was at the last meeting, and we kind of should have bundled this together into one time. So as you know, Michael Baker International was also approved to do our trail project, which will go along New Britain Road from Central Park to across, down New Britain Road, across.
Just before the backside of Warden.
Yep, across 611 to right there, the trail that's at the backside of Warden, as Stephanie has indicated. And so we need field survey. Basically, Pannoni has given us a proposal. Sean has provided that. That proposal to do that field survey is
Right?
$12,800. And so we're asking for the board's approval to approve Pannoni's proposal to get that work started. And that is all part of, how is that funded, Stephanie, to remind me?
We have a DCD grant of over $700,000.
So that is a grant, so this is part of that grant budget.
Okay. Any questions? Is there a motion to approve this this request for
Proposal.
contract for Pannoni on this?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Stone Barn Manor.
If I may, Stone Barn Manor was the redevelopment of the old Everett estate on Old Dublin Pike. Project's about completed, and you're being asked tonight to accept the right-of-way along Old Dublin Pike, the right-of-way along Pine Run Road, and also to accept a bike and hike path easement from the developer, all of which were in accordance with the terms of the approval and the development that proceeded thereafter. So I would recommend the board approve accepting the three separate easements.
Okay, we can do them together?
Yes, you can.
All right, is there a motion to approve the 3 right-of-way easements as delineated in Mr. Garten's letter, April 27th, and as he just detailed here?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, zoning hearing board applications for Dunlap. Do it one at a time. Okay. What is your recommendation?
My recommendation, it's a simple variance and would leave that to the ZHB.
All right, so be it. And how about 10 Bridle Drive?
Again, I would recommend leaving that to the ZHB.
Okay, thank you. All right, announcements. Going to reiterate the announcements. Our next meeting is Tuesday, June 21st at 7 p.m. The next budget work session is Tuesday, June 21st at 5 p.m. Township offices will be closed Tuesday, May 17th for primary election day and Monday, May 30th for Memorial Day. Leaf and yard waste recycling is the third Saturday of each month from 9 a.m. to 11, and the first and fourth Tuesdays of each month from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Drop-off site is the New Britain Road entrance to Central Park. Dawstown Township Parks and Recreation upcoming events: May 12th, Home Run Derby; May 14th, Touch a Truck; May 20th, Red Cross Blood Drive; August 22nd, the annual golf outing; September 10th, Fido Float at Fanny Chapman; and September 24th, the Fall Food Truck Festival. The Thompson Performing Arts Series begins at the C&M Bank Amphitheater in Central Park on May 25th with the Eric Mintal Jazz Quartet. And if you've got potholes for state roads, 1-800-FIX-ROAD. For township roads, we have a list of township roads on our website, but you can call 348-9915. Join us for the National Night Out. That would be sponsored by our police department on Tuesday, August 2nd, in Central Park from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Public comment on other than agenda items will now occur.
Good evening. My name's Petter Cox. You've heard me speak before. I live on Pineview Drive in Doylestown. I have 2 subjects to discuss tonight. One of them deals with a topic that Nancy's already talked about. The young man that was here in his wheelchair and spoke to you about the condition of the road where he lives. Turns out it's Pine Woods and Turk Road. It's the intersection there. And incidentally, I was driving by the other day when he was out for a walk with his mom. The road truly is so bad that young man literally has to walk almost in the middle of the road, going up over hills where people coming from the other direction can't see him. So anything that the township can possibly do in that area. I don't live there. I live a couple, 3 or 4 blocks away. But to make life a little bit easier for him, I am absolutely certain he and his family would be truly appreciative.
Okay.
Second subject's a little bit more controversial. It deals with courtesy, professionalism, and the rule of law. People who work together are expected to be courteous to each other. And telling somebody that their ugly voice hurts their ears is not only rude, but totally and completely unprofessional. Blocking somebody who sits on this township council from attending meetings or not even inviting her to meetings is incredibly unprofessional. And Mr. Garten, you need to pay attention to the last part. It is also a criminal violation of the law because you have denied the representative of the people who live in her district legal representation before this board. Totally and completely a violation of the law. And there's 2 things that are going to have to happen to correct it. 1, she will no longer be denied attendance at any meeting, any committee meeting, any board meeting, or asked to leave anything. And when things that she says need to be put into the minutes, they will be put into the minutes and they will not be eliminated from the minutes. The other thing that needs to happen, and it needs to happen very quickly, because later this week, the district attorney and I and my lawyer are going to be discussing this very matter. But the individual responsible for this unprofessional, discourteous, and illegal behavior needs to resign her position on this board with immediate effect. And I guarantee you, Matt Weintraub and I will be discussing this matter. Have a nice night.
No idea what he was talking about. Anything else? Okay, we're adjourned. Good night, everybody. Oh, sorry.
Does this thing work? Hello? Okay, now I can hear. Thank you. I am Eileen Germani. This is my husband. Get up here, buddy. James. I have lived at 237 Tether Way in Doylestown, Hunt for 30 years. I worked in Doylestown Hospital for 20 of those 30. It has been brought to my attention that somebody wants to make a natural habitat by my house. I live on the cul-de-sac by the detention basin, and for 30 years, I have done my due diligence in upkeeping, helping the sewer department remove debris from the drains, and taking care of that detention basin. And they come, they cut it once a month. They've been doing that for 30 years. And now somebody who lives on Tally Ho Lane wants to come butt in where I live. I will not stand for it. You want to add?
Yeah. They kind of put easement stakes. I think they're marked with a pink ribbon, and there's also stakes that are painted white, and I have no idea what that symbolizes. They made almost like a corral or something.
I think it's a disgrace.
Dave,
and my neighbor, who is a sheriff for 20 years and was a police officer in Philadelphia, he lives on this side, and I live on that side. And for 30 years, we've been taking care of that and making sure everything was copacetic. The lawnmower guys come once a month. They do a fantastic job. You haven't heard a complaint from me in 30 years until now.
Do you know what the...
As long as I remain there, I will fight for my home. My home is not going to go down in the gutter because somebody wants to make a, quote, natural habitat.
It also
You
breeds
know what?
mosquitoes.
Rodents, mosquitoes, bugs, we got otters, we got all natural life. We live right behind the woods.
Okay, let's see what Dave Tomko has to say about this.
Yeah.
And again, if the board will call and as well as address the public that we have a stormwater management permit with the Pennsylvania DEP. That permit requires us by law, as we call it around here, the unfunded mandate that we require is handed down by the EPA to the DEP, to the townships, to the municipalities to minimize what they call pollutants, which is sediment into the local waterways. Okay, one of the ways we've identified to do that with our program is to naturalize our basins. Okay, first of all, that property is township property. Okay, it's actually, it's actually owned by the Dawstown Township Municipal Authority, and because there's a stormwater basin there, the township maintains the basin. It's the township's responsibility to maintain that because it's part of the stormwater system. Okay, so as part of our permit, and that permit was prepared, it was submitted to the DEP. The DEP approved it and reviewed it and approved it.
I can't
okay?
hear him.
That's it.
Okay, the DEP reviewed and approved our permit for our stormwater management program, which was mandated by the state. If we do not follow those rules, we will be fined by the DEP. And there's been municipalities that have been fined by the DEP for not complying. As part of our stormwater program, We developed a basin naturalization program. That is a stormwater basin that has all the stormwater that goes off of all the roads in that area into the basin in the Hunt.
There's a bifurcation of cement that goes from each sewer.
Can you speak?
Each drain.
Through the detention basin.
Honey,
Ma'am,
come here.
ma'am,
Three sides
ma'am,
of this,
ma'am,
okay?
can you speak into the microphone?
Basin must be taken so the water flows freely. If you have crap in there growing without being maintained, it's gonna clog up and we're gonna get flooded.
Ma'am, how about if we send somebody out to this property to take a look at it and have a discussion with you on site? Is that okay? Can we do that?
Yes.
I think that might be helpful. All right, Dave, can you?
We can do that. Yes, as a matter of fact,
I can't hear you.
We're going to
Yes,
send,
ma'am.
we're going to send someone to talk to you on site and go through all your complaints.
Can we? I know.
Okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. Well, do you have the address?
I do.
Okay, so we'll get up with you about coming to the property, and this gentleman will bring his team, and we'll go through it with you together on site. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll bring our article too that we had for the
I
new.
was just going to say, I think our manager Stephanie mentioned there was an article on naturalization. Do you know when that was that went in?
It was an article in 2021 in our township newsletter. We'll pull that out as well.
Okay.
And you know, Nancy, you were part of that discussion in your neighborhood. I think it was very positive. Judy Stern-Goldstein, our township planner, has been working. This is something our Environmental Advisory Council. Yeah, so.
I can't hear you with your mask.
We can bring it. We can bring that up as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other comment? Now we're adjourned. Thank you. Good night, everybody.